He's a very dangerous leadoff hitter, hits in 9 of his last 11 games.
So it always helps when you start him 0-1, as Cecil does here. We're underway from Rogers Center, and we're glad that you've joined us today, coast to coast on Rogers Sportsnet. As Cecil gets the signs from Chavez, the catcher moves inside, and that's where the pitch lands. 1 ball and 1 strike on Roberts.
He has been swinging the bat really well of late. 300th career double last Tuesday when they were in Detroit. Actually leads the league in doubles with 38.
In fact, the top 3 in that category are in this ball game today, with Roberts followed by Lind and then Nick Markakis. 1, 2, and 3 in doubles in the American League. As Cecil fires the 2-1, it's fouled off Roberts' ankle, and that clearly hurt him.
That is not a good feeling right there. I think that one went off the ankle bone. That Brian Robertson's speed is such a big part of his game. Watch this one. Fastball in, right off the shin. He's trying to walk it off. They don't have that cold spray anymore, do they? Where they used to spray that on the area that got hit and just numb that whole place.
What did that feel like? Did you ever have that stuff sprayed on you?
Oh, sure. Just numbed it up. Now, it hurt a couple of hours later. But
once the game had concluded.
Sure.
Well, they'll give Roberts a little time here to try and get some feeling back there.
If you're the pitcher, where are you going?
Right back in there.
Right back in there. It's tough as a hitter to pull the trigger when you see that slider coming down and in, because you're like, okay, I'm going to hit her off that leg again.
Well, it seems Roberts is ready to go on 2-2. Here comes Cecil again. Up and in for ball 3. That must have stung, Pat, because that was an abnormally long amount of time for Roberts to try and get the feeling back in his ankle.
Well, there's no muscle there to absorb that hit. That one went right off his shin bone.
There's the payoff, and it's taken foul by Roberts. These Orioles appear to be in a bit of a rebuilding phase with so many rookies in their lineup and on the mound as well. You'll see one today as Chris Tillman, a right-hander, goes for Baltimore. And you're watching a recent draft pick of the Blue Jays, Brett Cecil, making his 12th start, battling Brian Roberts, and he misses inside, ball 4. He's not happy with walking the leadoff man, but Roberts draws a walk for the 4th time in this series.
And whenever he gets on base, he is a threat to steal. He has stolen at least 20 bases now in 7 straight seasons. There has only been 2 other players, Jamie, in the American League who can say that same thing. Carl Crawford and Ichiro Suzuki. Not a very big lead by Roberts, still limping over there at first base.
Cecil now faces Adam Jones, the center fielder, hitting .299, and his 19 home runs leads Baltimore. Having a breakout year for the Orioles. Cecil from the stretch works it inside, 1-1. And I know it's early, Pat, but you could tell by the body language after he walked Brian Roberts that Cecil was quite upset by issuing a free pass to the leadoff man.
Well, you don't go out there and try and walk the guy. I mean, he was trying to get that fastball in there. You don't want to walk a guy who sets the table quite nicely for a good offensive team.
There's a breaking ball on the ground. This will help him. Scutaro goes to Hill, who then goes to Overbay, and they get a 6-4-3 double play.
That away to come back right there. You walk that leadoff guy, and then you go right after that next hitter, who is very dangerous. Tailor-made to Scudero, to Hill, and Overbay finishing it off. Marco Scudero has started the most double plays of any shortstop in the American League. Textbook right there.
Man, that clears the bases for Nick Markakis, who yet again very quietly is having a very productive year for the Orioles. In fact, with 78 runs driven in this year, he sits third in the American League. Only Justin Morneau, Evan Longoria, and Mark Teixeira have driven in more runs than the man at the plate in the American League.
Those hitters you just talked about, big sluggers in the American League, they get the bulk of their RBIs via the home run. Markakis just 13 home runs, but he sprays the ball all over the field. You make a mistake and he can hurt you with a long ball. He's had a couple of guys hitting ahead of him this year that really makes his job a little bit easier, with Roberts and Jones. Guys with good on-base percentage and good speed hitting ahead of him and getting on base.
A .313 hitter against the Jays. He grounds this to Hill, who backhands the ball and throws him out. So Cecil walks the leadoff man, but it doesn't hurt him. And his team comes to the plate next as you watch the Jays and Orioles on Rogers Sportsnet. Change from last night. Raul Chavez checks in, and Rod Barajas gets the day off. Here's a look at Adam Lind, hitting .346 in his last 6, and he's really settled in as the designated hitter for this team, with now 23 home runs, 72 RBIs, batting third most days for Cito Gaston's man. And well, when you buy a ticket to see the Orioles, you'll often see a fresh face in the major leagues, and here's a great example. Chris Tillman goes today.
Yeah, Chris Tillman was given a 5-run lead in the first inning in his last start in Detroit, but immediately reached him for 3 runs, working with no decision. He's the 4th youngest pitcher to debut for the Orioles in the past 40 years, and he's got a lot of potential. Here's the scouting report on the young right-hander: a fastball and a good overhand spike curveball, good old-fashioned 12-6 spin on the ball. He's got an effective changeup that he will use. And he's the 4th of 5 to arrive. He is the 4th player to come from the Mariners in that big trade for Eric Bedard. We talked about Sherrill and Jones, and here's one. It could be a pretty good one. Here's how they'll line up defensively. The O's have made just 1 error in the 5 games on this current road trip. Reimold, Jones, and Markakis. Huff, Roberts, Estouris, and Melvin Mora, the third baseman, and Matt Wieters, who had a big day yesterday, will be doing the catching. There's Brian Roberts at second base. The leg, I guess, has been repaired, and he will be fine.
First pitch from Tillman to Marco Scutaro goes for ball one, as Scutaro has reached base safely in all but one of his last 28 games. And what a pleasure he's been to watch in the leadoff position this year. He really knows how to work the count, and that's critical against a young man the Blue Jays have never faced before.
Fifth in the major leagues and reaching base safely via the hit, walk, or hit by pitch. He has reached base 192 times this year.
That's why that on-base percentage is up there at .387 as Scutaro awaits the 2-1. And he pops this one foul, and it heads behind the Orioles dugout and out of play. This is just the third big league start for Tillman, who just turned 21 in April. He hails from Anaheim, California. And as Pat pointed out, the fourth of 5 men acquired from Seattle for Eric Bedard. And on 2-2, he goes to work on Scutaro. It's lined down the right field side and out of play. So Adam Jones, one of the players acquired in that deal.
All-Star.
Yep. George Sherrill, All-Star last year.
All-Star.
Now a member of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Cam Michel-Lyle, a right-handed pitcher who we've seen from time to time in the bullpen, and a left-handed pitcher by the name of Tony Butler, as the breaking ball is off the plate 3-2. Pretty nice haul, I'd say.
Yeah. Somebody did their homework when they scouted the Seattle Mariners, and the Mariners felt like they were one player away, but they really restocked the Baltimore Orioles in that one trade.
Well, Scutaro is making the young man work here. And Tillman was Seattle's minor league pitcher of the year just 2 seasons ago.
He's got a big frame to work with. You can see it. He stands about 6'4", 6'5". Hasn't filled out yet because he's so young.
Down low, ball 4, and like Cecil ahead of him, he walks the leadoff man.
But when he figures it out, gets a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. I was talking with Buck Martinez before the game, and he says, you know who he reminds me of? A young Roy Halladay. He said when Halladay first came up, he was big, strong, threw fastball, overhand curveball. He learned how to pitch, though, and he got different pitches in his repertoire. He feels Tillman has the same potential.
Well, here he is facing Aaron Hill, who was in the on-deck circle watching Marco Scutaro take a bunch of pitches from Tillman, foul a few off, really worked the count, and he draws a walk. Hill on 0-1, looks at a breaking ball and falls behind 0-2. He seems to say something to himself as he turns away.
Well, he got a chance to see that curveball before 2 strikes. It's always nice to see your strikeout pitch for strike 1 or strike 2. You file it away, you put it in the back of your mind, you say, okay, I saw that one. Throw me another one.
There is one in the dirt as Wieters comes out quickly from behind home plate, and the way things are going for Aaron Hill, don't hang one of those breaking balls. He's been oh so dangerous this year.
He's been losing them left and right. Had a hit streak, stopped a couple of days ago. And started a new one.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Bottom of the first. None out, and Scutaro is moving about off first base, and that causes Tillman to step off. Here comes the rookie right-hander, now 2-2.
If you like young pitching and you like to watch it develop, this is the series to watch it. We saw Ricky Romero yesterday and Birkin, Tillman today going up against Cecil. The 3 starters that the O's are going to be throwing in the 3-game series, just 2-9 in their 13 starts this year in the major leagues. That ball fouled off by Aaron Hill. But this year in the minor leagues, the three of them 22-9. So they all have spent time in the minor leagues. The Orioles are going nowhere, so they say, let's bring them up here. Let's give them a shot. Let's learn at the big league level now.
Hill works the count 2-2. Here's a ground ball to short as Sturris goes to Roberts. And not in time, though, to get Hill at first, so he beats it out and is aboard on a fielder's choice.
That was sloppy right there. That ball should have been turned by the Baltimore Orioles, who have been fielding great. Just one error on this road trip. But the timing and everything around second base was not there between Asturias and Roberts. Threw him off a little bit. Roberts couldn't get anything on the throw, and it was a high throw. And Hill, hustling all the way like he does, plays the game hard, beats it out.
Breaking ball to Adam Lind to start, and it's 1-0. Lind right behind Hill in most offensive categories with 23 home runs, 3 less than Hill. 5 fewer RBIs. But like Hill, having an excellent season and really showing the Blue Jays and their fans that he's got a very good future here. Let's bring in Sam Cosentino.
Well, Jamie, coming out for the bottom of the first inning, Brian Roberts was late getting out onto the field. Gary Cederstrom with his eye in the dugout as he received some extra medical attention. From my vantage point, I couldn't see exactly what they did. But on plays like that, especially with the double play, a runner bearing down hard on you when it's close at second base, that's something to keep our eye on here the rest of this game.
We certainly will, as Lind fouls that away.
What they usually do, what the trainers do when you foul a ball off your shin or your ankle or whatever, they'll put a pressure pad on there to hold that blood in there so it doesn't pop out like a goose egg on your shin bone. So you go in there, you won't be able to tell with those big baggy pants that Brian Roberts has, but they put that pressure pad on there to keep it down so it doesn't swell up on you.
You're making me queasy.
Really? Yeah. You should see it when they pull it off at the end of the game.
A big black and blue welt.
Did that one time and finished the game. Went to a concert after the game, was walking around and just fell down. My leg just went totally numb.
Here's a roller to short. Asturias takes it himself and fires to first to get the double play. So after one no score here in Toronto, you're watching the Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. The championship teams of '92 and '93, and We hope he got a good sleep because the players have been having a lot of fun, and it was on my request that we brought Steve into the broadcast booth today because we're getting on in years, and some of us remember the great days of the 80s right on through. Great to see you, and thank you for coming by.
Oh, thanks. My pleasure.
What a weekend for you guys. Has it been neat to see some of these old faces?
Oh, it's been great. Something that probably should have happened a long time ago. But, yeah, it is great to see these guys. It's been a long time for some of them, but it's been a great time so far.
Have you kept in contact with some of the guys? I mean, some of the guys that go way back, Rance and Henke and some of those other guys.
I've seen Rance from time to time when I've come to Toronto, but I keep in touch with David Wells, Pat Henkin.
All the pitchers.
Well, it just so happens they're pitchers. Actually, Dwayne Ward, I saw him a couple years ago in Vegas. Kelly Gruber, I was in touch with him from time to time, but then we lost touch there for the last year. So there's a few guys that I talk to from time to time, but it's great to see the guys that I haven't seen in 15 years or so.
Are you guys getting any sleep, by the way?
Yeah, we're finding time to get some sleep.
It's like old times, Dave. I haven't seen you in years. You can come up here, but we go on the bus to the golf tournament the other day, and everybody's just busting everybody. It's just like we're in the locker room again.
Oh, look at that. A major collision between Overbay and Hill, and both of them are smiles, and that's great news. It's Hill coming up with a catch here.
Well, shades of you remember back in Oakland.
Yes.
Collision. Watch the elbows. Touchdown. Should have called for the fair catch.
Hill's got his right foot jammed underneath Overbay. He's just happy to get up and feel great about that. As Dave Steve joins us. You were talking about the bus ride from the golf tournament.
Yeah, it was like we were flying into a city and on the bus going to the hotel or on the bus going to the ballpark again. Everybody cutting up and laughing, and reminiscing. It was a great time. And, all these functions in the boxes here during the games, just running around talking to various players. What a great time.
Is that the biggest thing you miss, being away from the game?
Yeah. I always had a good time, with the camaraderie and just being around the guys and, the little cut-ups here and there. Sometimes they got a little too serious, but, it was always fun and it was always, in a good-natured way.
Dave, how were you impacted when that World Series of '92 finally came to an end? Because you were one of those players who had seen the ugly years coming up in the early 80s with this organization.
Well, it was tough because, I'm a severe competitor and I wanted to be out there and contribute. And it was just, an untimely tendonitis in my elbow that put me on the DL. And it was serious torture to watch and not be able to go out there between the white lines and produce and be a part of it. But, I was a cheerleader, and just like all the fans were just cheering us on and just wanting a victory. And they won, and those guys, it's because of them I got a ring, and, I'm eternally grateful for it. Because, after all those years, there's a lot of guys that play a long time and don't even get that opportunity or don't get a ring. And to at least get a ring, albeit the way I got it, I'll take it. It's great. It could have been worse.
First one out there.
Yeah, I was the first one out there.
And I thought that was so symbolic because you were the first star of this organization, in my mind, the first star. So it was only appropriate that you were the first guy out there to reach the pile.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I kind of had it in my mind. I want to be the first one out there. And then I was wearing tennis shoes, and when I got to Joe, my feet went right out from under me, and I found myself on the bottom of the pile. And I'm a tad claustrophobic, and I didn't like that much.
Fans are going to look for that when we replay that pylon after Game 6. They're going to notice Steve taking a major spill.
Yeah, it looked kind of funny.
No, not at all.
It wasn't the greeting I was expecting to give him.
There's Nolan Reimold lining it into the seats in left field, and our guest is Dave Steve as part of the reunion weekend here. And I don't think there is a Blue Jay fan alive in 1990 who will forget the look on your face in Cleveland when you looked up into the stands after finally getting a no-hitter. I mean, it was a thrill for all of us who watched it, but probably an even greater thrill for you.
Yeah, I was in total disbelief that it finally happened, especially in that ballpark where 2 years earlier I remember seeing the ground ball go to my left side towards Manny Lee, and I said, I got the no-hitter, and it took that bad hop.
Well, listen to this.
Into right field. He has got a no-hitter for Dave Steve. The long, in Toronto Blue Jay history, recorded here in Cleveland this afternoon.
That's the voice of the late, great Don Chevrier. Was there somebody you were pointing to there?
Yeah, Kevin Bolin, the author of my book.
Oh,
he
yes.
happened to be at that game, and that was symbolic of, I'm perfect. This is as close as I'm ever going to get. So I was just acknowledging him that this day finally came. I kind of feel bad doing that because Borders was, wanting to hug me and stuff, and I was like ignoring him for a second. Every time I see that, I think about that. But God, it gives me chills just seeing that again. It was such a great moment, and like I was saying with that bad hop, I felt like I should have had it 2 years earlier. But it was really funny that 2 years later, I get it in that same ballpark, and it was just like a sweet payback.
Made sweeter because of the near misses?
Oh, yeah, but no doubt. But, after all those near misses, I felt that it was just takes a lot of luck to get a no-hitter. That's all it is.
Wow.
Well, there's Nolan Reimold attempting to steal. He is thrown out by Raul Chavez, who has quite a gun, as we know. So there are 2 gone here in the second, and we couldn't wait to visit with Dave Steve, so he joins us early on in this ball game as we're watching Brett Cecil face Melvin Mora. What are you doing these days, Dave?
I basically mess around with stocks till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Then, my daughter just graduated high school this year, but I would go pick her up at 2:30 and get her something to eat, and then take her back home and go work out for like 3 hours. And that was pretty much my routine for quite a while there. Then in the winter, I do a little hunting, right, waterfowl and upland game and birds.
Well, listen, it's great to see you. A pleasure for me. Here from Rogers Center, the Blue Jays and Orioles, scoreless after an inning and a half. And for the Jays, Lyle Overbay, Vernon Wells, and Alex Rios are coming up against the rookie right-hander, Chris Tillman. Having just had a visit with one of the great right-handers in Blue Jays history, Dave Stieb. Back in the building as part of the reunion weekend. And what a weekend it's been for some of the players from the 92 and 93 teams. All kinds of events, autograph signing sessions, golf tournaments, gala dinners. They've been busy as Tillman goes to work here on Lyle Overbay. That's a called ball, or excuse me, strike, so it's 2-1. Looked a little high from the rookie, but the count now 2 balls and a strike as Tillman, in just his 3rd major league start, goes to work now 3-1. So here's the kick from the right-hander, and that's a strike 3-2.
I'm back. Back now.
Oh, you're catching up with an old friend. Kind of wish we could have him stay around for 9 innings.
Yeah. Because I would like to hear some of the stories of the early days, you know, and what's the difference between that time and then when they really got good.
From an outfielder. As we remember, he was originally scouted as an outfielder. And it's time now for a Rogers Fast Fact, brought to you by Canada's fastest mobile network, 3 times faster than any other. Vernon Wells now with 11 home runs after his shot in the second inning last night. 8 of them have been solo drives. And this one lifted down the left field line and touches about 2 feet in foul ground and out of play. It's just one of those things that has plagued Vernon this year. His average with nobody on so far this season, 295, very respectable, but with runners on, a 218 average. It really drops off when there are men on base. So it's not that surprising that most of his home runs have been solo shots.
Pitchers bear down just a little bit more. Batters try just a little bit harder, and all of a sudden you're out of your realm. You're out of what you're trying to do as a player. You have to lock that out. You got to just shut it down and just think about positive thoughts.
Well, he pops this one up, but it's out of play.
His last 6 home runs have been solo home runs. You have to go back to
May in Los Angeles, as I recall, against the Angels.
3-run home run
off Rafael Rodriguez. First man aboard as Overbay leads off first. And this one tagged to center field, but playable for Jones. He backed up on the ball and then breaks in. Looks like he might have had a little trouble reading that off the bat.
Well, when the roof is open here, pitchers like to pitch when the roof is open in the wind gust into the tunnel on top of that roof there. So from the power alleys, from the 375, the wind will knock that ball down. If you're going to hit a home run, you've got to get it down the lines when they have the top off.
Here's Rios. He's sitting on 13 home runs after following up Wells in the second inning last night. So the Blue Jays have now gone back-to-back with home runs 4 times this year. Ball 2. And it really got the crowd of 30,000 and change involved early last night as the Blue Jays jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Added another run in the 5th inning on a double by Aaron Hill, and were cruising for a time against the Orioles. And here's Rios hitting it high and deep to left field. Reimeled at the wall, and she is gone. Back-to-back games with home runs, and the Blue Jays have an early 2-0 lead.
Shows you the kind of power and talent that Alex Rios possesses. Right in the wheelhouse, right into that uppercut home run swing to left center. When it left the bat, it looked like it was going to reach the second deck, but it gets over that auxiliary scoreboard for a home run. That's been one of the problems for young Chris Tillman. Home runs, that's 5 given up now in 2+ starts.
They should put Rios on waivers more often.
If you're going to do what he's done the last couple of nights.
And then pull him back immediately. So he drove in 2 last night. Adds 2 RBIs here on his 14th home run of the season. And that brings up Edwin Encarnacion. Rios has almost matched his home run totals of last year. He's 1 shy after hitting 15 last season. Here's Encarnacion, the ground ball, and he's thrown out by Mora.
Well, it's just good seeing him getting pitches and not missing them, getting that timing down and that bat through the strike zone. And when he squares it up, He's got those long arms. Can reach those pitches and put some serious torque on that ball.
So his belt gives Brett Cecil an early 2-0 lead. Here's Tillman now working to Raul Chavez. Chavez has been the bright light backup this year, hitting a very respectable .274. He's way out ahead of that one. 1 ball and 1 strike now. His first home run of this season came here at Rogers Center against Kansas City on the 6th of June, and at that time became the 13th different Blue Jay to hit a home run. Since then, John McDonald's gone deep, so 14 different men have done it, and this ball headed towards center field, but Jones has such great speed. It looked like a gapper, but he's able to catch up to it and retire Chavez. That ends the 2nd inning, and the Blue Jays, courtesy of Alex Rios, have a 2-0 lead as you watch the Blue Jays and Orioles today on Rogers Sportsnet.
Expense paid trip to see the Jays in comfort. TD Canada Trust, putting you in the comfort zone.
We kick off the 3rd inning here at Rogers Center with Luke Scott, a left-handed hitting DH, facing the lefty Brett Cecil. Unfortunately, none of that food there is coming up to our broadcast booth. Hot dogs and all kinds of things at the ready down in the cozy seats down low. We hope you're enjoying this one today on Rogers Sportsnet. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino. Here's Scott, who got the night off last night. He's in there to face the rookie Cecil today. That comes straight back and out of play.
Make a play. Luke Scott doesn't have any problem with left-handed pitchers. His approach at the plate is so good that he doesn't get fooled a whole lot from lefties. He keeps that front shoulder in there, stays with it, and if you make a mistake over the plate, he'll shoot that gap in left center field.
He's hitting .292 against lefties this year,
with 8 home runs. 8 of his 18 home runs have come against left-handed pitching.
and you know he'll be in the lineup tomorrow against Roy Halladay.
He has had very good success against Doc.
Here he's 0-2 in his first plate appearance of the day against Brett Cecil. And Cecil kicks and delivers, gets the swing and the strikeout. One gone for Matt Wieters. And assuming Cecil gets out of this inning he will match his innings total from all of last year over 3 levels in the minor leagues with the Blue Jays. As he faces Matt Wieters, last year between Single-A, Double-A, and Triple-A, he threw 118 innings and said to me at spring training, it's the most I've ever thrown. And here, he's in his 118th inning of work at both the major league and minor league level, split between the big club and Triple-A. And as you know, Pat, these young pitchers that we're seeing here this year are on an innings watch. I think that the Blue Jays are focusing in on about 170 innings.
Yeah, that's the number
maximum.
I've heard. We'll get some confirmation as we get a little bit later. Right now, he's feeling it.
Boy, is he ever. He blows it by Matt Wieters, who goes after a pitch up in the zone. 2 quick outs for Cecil in the third.
He's got that little bit of a hesitation in his windup right there, and all of a sudden he hides the ball well, and it's right on top of him. He just kept climbing the ladder against Matt Wieters with fastballs, 3 in a row. Up and in. Timeout on the field as Edwin Encarnacion looked like he broke the webbing of his glove on that throwdown from Raul Chavez. Cecil had some steam on that last fastball.
And hiding the ball was an issue in spring training when Dwayne Murphy, who was a coach with the Blue Jays, noticed that in particular on his spike curveball, when he went into the windup, you could easily see the grip on the baseball, and they had to alter some things.
When he starts in his windup, he really wraps right there. But he was showing.
Base hit to left field.
He was showing the hitter what was coming.
Cecil gives up his first hit of the game, and it's to the number 9 hitter, Cesar Izturis. And it looks like Brian Roberts will not play any longer because Robert Andino comes into the on-deck circle. Now Encarnacion needs a new glove as Adam Lynn goes out there and tosses him one. So clearly, we were talking about it at the time. He was really stung by that foul ball, and it's a little more than he can take, obviously.
We have a microphone down there, and you can hear, you know, buckling over in pain and feeling it, and tried to go another inning, but just didn't work.
It just took him so long to walk it off. And so here's Andino coming off the bench for Dave Tremblay's Orioles. He takes a hack at the first one. Let's bring in Sam Cosentino.
Well, Jamie, Nolan Reimold caught stealing in the second inning. That is the 17th runner that's been thrown out by Raul Chavez. He's operating at about 58%. Anytime you're over 25% as a catcher, you're doing well. So Chavez, a great catch and throw guy, obviously getting a little help from Cecil being left-handed.
And notice him glaring down to first, too, and he even fakes the throw down there just to make sure Izturis is paying attention. He is oh so dangerous. You can't stray very far from the bag when Chavez is back there.
Yeah, that's the thing that has impressed me. Pitch is on his way. You see him kind of glance quickly to see what the runner's doing.
2 strikes on Andino as Izturis draws a throw.
And he's a threat to steal. Izturis, 9 stolen bases. He's been caught 1 time. Why not take a chance here? You get thrown out, you've got your leadoff batter to hit next inning.
There goes the runner. Pitch is high. Chavez the throw in the dirt and played by Hill, but Izturis is in there with his 10th stolen bag of the season.
Izturis went on first movement. Watch as soon as Cecil picks his leg up, he goes. Ball bounced in there, and by the time Hill could get the tag on it, stolen base number 10 for Izturis. He was just gambling that Cecil wasn't going to double up and throw over there 2 times in a row.
Down the line and foul. And with 2 strikes, Cecil can focus in here on Andino, who doesn't play very often. This is just his 57th game in the big leagues this year. 23-year-old Brett Cecil from Dunkirk, Maryland, against a team he grew up watching, the Baltimore Orioles. And he's looking for the call there, walking off the mound, but he'll have to keep working against Andino here.
Good idea right there. A little fastball with a little tail. Watch the reaction from young Brett Cecil. He walks off the mound and he doesn't get the call. Just off the plate. A couple years from now, if he establishes himself as a big leaguer, he'll get that call.
Backhanded near the bag at second, and Hill makes a terrific play to get Andino as the Orioles strand one here in the third. Still 2-0 Jays. Figurine giveaway presented by TD Canada Trust. The first 10,000 fans receive one of these. For ticket information, check out BlueJays.com. Call the ticket office 416-341-1234 or visit your local Rogers Plus location for tickets.
You get to see the Terminator.
And get a Terminator.
You get a Terminator, and you get to watch Roy Halladay pitch. Come on down. Should be a lot of fun.
Here's Joe Inglet. He'll lead off the bottom of the third against Chris Tillman. Marco Scutaro and Aaron Hill will follow. Inglet making his 10th start of the year in left field, his 12th start overall, as he waves and misses 0-2. All the while, as Inglet gets some time now and again in left field, Travis Snider is tearing apart AAA baseball, batting .481 in his last 13 games with 5 home runs. I think I heard J.P. Ricciardi the other day saying Snider will likely be up with this club in September, and the way things are going with him, it might be even sooner.
Yeah, likely. I think there's a good chance he could be here by the end of this month.
And that's great news. There was a bit of a back injury that had hampered Snider for a time after he was sent down to AAA, but obviously the effects of that injury have worn off, and he's feeling good about his plate appearances these days. As Inglet prepares for the 1-2, here it comes. He checks his swing, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And with Snider up in the early going, the first month and a half, as much as he was a rookie, that lineup 1 through 9 looked that much more dangerous when he was batting ninth.
When you had a home run threat at the bottom of the order like that. But the important thing is for young players to get at bats. They need to play. And the feeling was with a lot of left-handed starters that the Blue Jays were going to see, he wasn't going to play against lefties. He just needs to go down there and just play all the time.
Inglet strikes out. So he's the first out of the Jays' half of the third inning.
Much better sequence there for Chris Tillman, and the whole key was strike one. First time through the lineup now He has only had first pitch strikes on 3 batters, just 3 batters. So much more easier when you get ahead with that first pitch.
Back comes Scudero, who drew a walk against Tillman in the first inning. He takes ball 1 here. Now 2 balls and no strikes. Tillman was originally drafted by the Mariners in the 2nd round of the draft in 2006. Made his big league debut recently against Kansas City and gave up 3 home runs in 4 2/3. He's given up 1 in this game. A shot by Alex Rios last inning puts the Jays up 2-0. Popped up by Scudero, and Andino, fresh into the game, makes the play. 2 gone.
In each of those 2 starts that you were talking about with Tillman, he ran into trouble early in the game, but then found it and then finish up strong both of those outings. That's what you want to see from young players. Coming into this start, he had given up 5 runs through the first 2 innings of his 2 starts, and just 3 the rest of the way.
Hill grounds to short, and the play is made. A 1-2-3 for Chris Tillman here in the 3rd inning. After 3, it's Toronto 2, the Orioles no score.
Your chance to win an all-expense-paid trip to see the Jays in comfort. TD Canada Trust, putting you in the comfort zone.
Another good-looking crowd here at Rogers Center in Toronto for the 2nd game of a weekend series between the Jays and the Orioles today. And Toronto has an early 2-0 lead thanks to a 2-run shot by Alex Rios in the 2nd, his 14th of the year. Our statistician Scott Carson showed me a shot of the Doppler radar screen earlier, and he's suggesting that there is a rainy front moving in at some point, so we'll hope to keep the roof open here as long as we possibly can. As Brett Cecil in the 4th inning will face Adam Jones, Nick Markakis, and Aubrey Huff. Darkened skies to a degree.
You were talking earlier about a breakout season for Adam Jones. 19 home runs this year and 406 at-bats. Last year, in just under 500 at-bats, he had 9 home runs. So where does the power come from? Well, it comes from learning the league a little bit more, learning yourself. The talent is obviously there. I mean, you watch this kid take batting practice and you watch how quick his bat is. That's where home runs come from, with the quickness of the bat. His swing is a lot shorter this year. He's not fishing for pitches out of the strike zone like we saw constantly last year. You could pitch to Adam Jones. This year he's closed those holes up. And he has become a much better breaking ball pitcher, or excuse me, hitter. Where the pitcher throws an off-speed pitch like that changeup right there, 2-1, he didn't even offer at it.
Those questions were raised about 3 or 4 years ago when Alex Rios was starting to come up with the Blue Jays. Yep. As Cecil kicks and delivers here. That's a shot, goes off the pitcher's glove, barehanded by Encarnacion, and the ball gets away from Overbay. Chavez chases it down the line, and Jones picks up second base.
Will go as an infield single for Jones. He just runs too well. Encarnacion did everything he could to try and throw out the speedy Adam Jones. He comes in hard and quick, bare hands it, and the throw kind of short hop. It looked like one of those in-between hops to the backhand side of Lyle Overbay. He just could not come up with it. Even if he did, they were not going to get Jones at first base.
That's about the third time so far this weekend that we've seen the Orioles get a base hit on a ball that deflects off the pitcher's glove.
Big one last night.
Yep. Brandon League.
The runner at second base.
One off Ricky Romero last night as well. And now here's Jones on the single and error, standing at second with Nick Markakis, one of the best RBI men in the American League, standing up there. But you talked about Jones and a sudden power surge, and we well remember, I think it was the 05 season when Alex Rios went seemingly forever between home runs, and the same question was asked: when is that power going to come?
Or if that power is ever going to come. If you've been around baseball, you can just tell that those hitters are going to be home run hitters. The size, the type of swing, the speed of their swing. So you can have all that physical tools, then you got to put the mental part of it together.
And that is what I think a lot of Blue Jay fans are looking forward to with respect to Travis Snider, who we've discussed already. He has the potential to hit 30 home runs.
Cito Gaston thinks he does. Thinks he has that type of potential. And you can see it when he takes batting practice, his approach, everything like that. Now he needs the experience, and that's the mental part that comes in.
Well, Brett Cecil is certainly getting a lot of big league experience here this year. Starting for the 12th time today against the Orioles and facing Nick Markakis. Injuries forced Cecil into the rotation early this year, and he hasn't disappointed. As he throws the 2-1, it's popped up by Markakis. And Scudero goes back, calls off Inglet, makes the catch, and the number 3 hitter is retired. So with Markakis gone, the left-handed pitching Cecil will now face a left-handed batter in Aubrey Huff.
Aubrey Huff has been struggling a little bit over the last month. Got off to a big start, a lot of home runs and RBIs early. Hitting just over 250, but he's got 67 RBIs.
And he drills this one deep to center field, back at the wall is Wells. It takes a wild bounce, and now it's picked up by Rios as Huff doubles in Jones. And so the Orioles are on the board here as Huff drives in his 68th run of the year.
Still very dangerous. He homered on July the 3rd, and since then he's hitting just over 200 with a home run and 12 RBIs before this at bat. Stays in there nicely with his front side and drives it to the deepest part of the ballpark, just out of the reach of Vernon Wells. It ricochets off the Center field wall backed up by Rios, and Huff trades places with Adam Jones.
That brings up left fielder Nolan Reimold, who walked in his first plate appearance. Goes after that one, and that's a fair ball down the line and left. Huff comes in to score easily, and the Orioles tie it up. Inglet brings the ball in. And so back-to-back doubles by Huff and Reimold, and the Orioles have evened the score.
One of the things that the Orioles do well, and we were talking about it last night, is they hit with runners in scoring position. Reimold wasting no time, first pitch hitting right over the bag, right down that line for an RBI double. Here comes Aubrey Huff, who just doubled himself. And just like that, 3 straight hits and an error, we're all tied.
Cecil to face Mora. First pitch is a strike. Mora fly to right in the second. So the Orioles here in the 4th inning are able to take advantage of a hot shot by Jones that deflected off the glove of Cecil. Jones ended up at second after a throwing error by Encarnacion. And then 2 doubles later, they've tied the score.
When Brett Cecil was going through his problems, he was averaging 21 pitches per inning, trying to find that release point so he can stay in the strike zone. Well, he did. We flashed at the beginning of this game the numbers in his last 4 starts. He had brought that pitch count per inning down to 14, which is very good. Very good. First 3 innings here, he looked very sharp. Now pitching out of the stretch in this inning, this is looking like what Ricky Romero was doing yesterday in the 6th inning. It looked like he ran into a little bit of problems. Cecil's got to figure it out right here with just 1 out.
2 balls and a strike to Mora, now 3-1. You can hear Cecil a little disappointed with that pitch, running the count to 3-1. This is a ground ball to Scudero, and Mora is thrown out for the 2nd out.
Good job there by Brett Cecil. Instead of fighting himself after throwing ball 3, took a deep breath and threw a changeup and had Mora way out in front.
Well, remember how disappointed he looked in the first when he walked Roberts to lead off the game, and then came right back a few pitches later and got Jones to ground into a double play. As Luke Scott takes the first one for a strike. And this error, the throw wide by Encarnacion, and he put the bear hug on Cecil. They collided right near the mound there. 1-1 on Scott. We know Brett Cecil can collect himself. We saw it in his last start in Oakland when he gave up 4 runs to the A's in the 2nd inning, including a bases clearing 3-run double by Adam Kennedy. He went on to set down 15 in a row after that.
Good sign of a young pitcher maturing is when he finds himself in trouble like that. Okay, what can I go to? What do I have that I could reach back and find and get guys out with? I love that 3-1 changeup to Mora. Got to come through again here.
The 2-1 on Scott, and he gets a swing. Scott tried to hold up, but it's called strike 2 by Gary Cederstrom. Scott was fooled in the 3rd, striking out against Cecil. Here he's 2-2. The potential go-ahead run in Nolan Reimold stands at third for the Orioles. Tied at 2 in the 4th inning. Cecil sets at the letters. He's ready to go. And the pitch is on the way off the plate. It's a full count on Scott. That's way up there for ball 4. Not even close. And so he loses Scott. And that walk draws a trot from Brad Arnsberg. He comes out to the mound.
Good idea to go out there and just settle him down. Let's talk about it a little bit. You don't want to be fighting yourself out there along with the opposition.
Interesting shot there on the bench of Cito Gaston getting up and casually walking over to Mark Zebchinski. And maybe the manager has noticed a few things here from Cecil he'd like to pass on to some of the younger players.
Well, they're very similar type of pitchers, Zebchinski and Cecil. Young left-handers. Their stuff is very similar.
Well, he loses the veteran Scott and now faces the rookie Wieters, who he struck out last inning. Men on the corners for the Orioles. First pitch to Wieters is high. Wieters was 2 for 3 last night. He has hits in 12 of his last 13. Ready's for the 1-0. Here it comes. And that misses too. Wieters was called up in late May. He'd done everything asked of him in AAA this year in 39 games with their affiliate in Norfolk, Virginia. He hit .305 with 30 runs driven in. Finds himself now as the starting catcher with this Orioles club, backed up by Chad Moeller. Cecil kicks and fires. Fouled back 2-2. There's the situation with Reimold at third, Scott at first. 2 runs in on a single and 2 doubles. Cecil trying to keep it at 2. Popped it up. Short left field. It backs up Scutaro, and he makes the catch to get Wieters and get Cecil out of a jam. He shakes his head coming off the mound, giving up 2. The game is now tied here in Toronto. Mullenix up in the private booth where some of the members of the 92 and 93 teams are watching. Pat Gillett has a chair in the front row. There's Frank McKenna, the former ambassador to the United States in the red golf shirt. Al Leiter taking some time off from his Yankee broadcast. Tom Henke right in front of Larry Heisel. John Sullivan in the orange shirt.
Galen Cisco.
And down in the bullpen, Candy Maldonado on the left, and on the right in the red shirt, Juan Guzman.
Is that legal?
It is now. Hey,
get him up.
Somebody get Guzman up.
Yeah, get that guy in the red up.
Oh, great to see as Adam Lynn steps in against Chris Tillman. You know, a lot of people were asking Joe Carter, kind of an odd year as the roof begins to close. We talked about that threat of rain. An odd time to have this reunion. It's only the, if you will, the 16th and the 17th years of celebration. It's not even a round number like 20, but he makes the great point. Why not have it now? It's been a long, long time. Let's just get together and not worry about the details of why we're getting together.
In the franchise history, as that ball is lifted to left field by Adam Lynn, what years did they win the World Series?
In the Blue Jays franchise history, 92 and 93.
What year was that in their history?
15. You're counting. Where are you going with this?
16th and 17th years of their history. They won.
All right.
The World Series.
I now know where you're going.
Now, how do I know that?
Well, you're part of it.
On the World Series ring, there's 16 little diamonds representing the 16 years that they were in existence until they won with the ring.
Ask Tabby 101.
See, there you go.
I mean, we should do an email question every game. Stump the Tabby.
Bring it on. Bring it on. We can do that. So it makes a lot of sense then, doesn't it?
No, it makes absolute
16,
sense.
17 years ago.
There's Lyle Overbay, who walked and scored in the second. The Blue Jays got their runs, if you've just joined us, from Alex Rios, who with one out in the second and Overbay at first hit a home run to left field. The Orioles get it back with two in their half of the fourth inning, though. And though the Blue Jays last night started well, it was a disappointing end as the Orioles won the opener 7-5. They seemed to rattle Ricky Romero for 4 runs in the 6th and then scored 3 more times on Brandon League in the 8th inning. And despite a couple of more runs scored in the bottom of that inning by the Blue Jays, the Jays just could not close anymore, and the Orioles won the opener. So the Jays have lost 3 in a row as Overbay draws a walk with 1 out.
You know, we've seen that a few times on this homestand where they get out to a lead and then towards the end of the game the opposition comes back. That is not a good feeling when you have wins like that late taken away from you. What do they need to do against Tillman now? Have good at bats, start grinding away, make him throw strikes.
He opens against Wells with a breaking ball for strike 1. And Wells is 0 for 1. He lined out to center field in the second inning. Let's bring in the third member of our broadcast team once again. Here's Sam.
Well, Jamie, having the opportunity to hang out in the box there last night, I think to a man these guys would like to see this sort of thing happen more regularly. And I know, Pat, you've had the opportunity to talk to a few guys as well.
Adam Jones catches up with that line shot. And he's so good at doing that, Pat. Everything that looks like it might be a double into the gap is caught. He got Chavez that way in the second inning.
What do they call that in football? Closing speed? I mean, you have to square a ball up and you can't get it in the air for very long. This looked like double written all over it when it left the bat. Watch how hard Wells hits it. It looks like it's going to split the gap. But here comes Jones with those long strides and runs it down and makes it look easy.
So here's Rios again. He homered in the second with 2 gone and Overbay standing at first base. Similar situation to that second inning when he knocked out his 14th.
Tillman tries to throw a fastball. He wants it away, and it's right in the wheelhouse. Right on the inner half, and with great strength. Rios rocks it over that auxiliary scoreboard. 14 home runs now and 62 driven in.
Tillman with a pitch. It's up. Ball 2.
That curveball has to have a purpose for Chris Tillman. Right now, it's like he's just throwing it up there with no reason or no purpose. It's loopy. Got to get it down and then break out of the strike zone. He's got a very good one.
That fastball is hit to short right field, and Markakis takes it for the out. 3 away now, and after 4, we're tied at 2. Baseball fans, you can catch the game live on your computer with MLB.tv, the ultimate baseball experience featuring 100 out-of-market games per week on your computer. And now you can enjoy live baseball on your iPhone or iPod Touch with MLB At Bat app. For more information, please visit BlueJays.com. As the roof closes here at Rogers Center, we're tied at 2 in the top of the 5th inning. Cesar Izturis will be followed by Robert Andino and Adam Jones. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino today at Rogers Center. Scott Carson, our Sportsnet.ca columnist and statistician, is here as well. And if you have MLB.tv, you might have had an opportunity to watch the Yankees and Red Sox last night in the early morning. I tried to stay up for most of that game and had to record the rest of that before it ended in the 15th inning.
15th inning. Those two teams always play long games. What time was that?
Well, by my account, as this ball has flied to right,
6
hours?
It
would have been about, well, if it started shortly after 7, I think it ended at around 45 minutes past midnight Eastern time. So you're looking at what, 4, almost a 5-hour game.
Well, 7 plus 5 is 12 plus 45, so 5 hours and 45 minutes.
5:45.
7 to 12 is 5, right? And you said it was 45 minutes past midnight.
You're right.
So it was like 6 hours.
You know, we'll have to check the box.
Yeah,
because it was still going when I cashed in, as Cecil tries to glove that one, and Dino beats it out for an infield single.
Good idea. You want to push a bunt like Andino did against a left-handed pitcher, because he falls off to the third base side. Everything would have worked fine for Brett Cecil if he could have just shoveled it a little harder. I think it got caught up in the webbing of his glove, and that slowed it down. Watch again. Cecil gets over there quickly, and watch it roll up that glove, up the fingers of the glove and through the webbing, and that slowed it down. I think Cecil might have hurt himself on that attempt.
Here comes Cito, followed by George Poulos.
They're looking down at his leg. Watch his leg buckle underneath him when he shovels that ball over to Overbay. Watch him as he gets up.
Boy, he's having trouble.
I wonder if that's a left knee. He's going to call for the left-hander. That's probably Brian Talent, the long man for the Blue Jays.
Well, what a shame. That's the end of the line for Cecil today. And not due to poor performance. An injury on that play forces him from the ball game, and they'll have to go to Talent now, who will come in and take as much time as he needs to warm up for the Orioles. We'll take a break and return after this. End of August 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Why not inquire about the all-you-can-eat section with tickets beginning at $36? Call the Blue Jays for information at 416-341-1188. As Brian Talent warms up, you going to call?
Yeah. It's a great idea.
It certainly is.
It went over really well last year. And there's the big left-hander who will get as much time as he needs to get loose. He is just now back on that rubber, 60 feet 6 inches. He was warming up for a while, and from the mound, there are his numbers, 5 and 6 with an ERA over 5. Talent also spent some time in the starting rotation this year. Enough to make 18 starts. He did that between April 18th and July the 25th.
Well, he came in a situation very similar to this one last Friday in Oakland, when Scott Richmond just didn't have it, as he'd returned from the disabled list and was roughed up by the A's, going 3+ innings. So Talent was called upon He went 3 innings, allowed 2 runs to the A's in an 8-5 loss. And he certainly, Pat, as you know, acquitted himself well in that starter's role.
Yeah, he made a couple of relief appearances at the beginning of the season. They put him in the starting rotation, and they built up his arm strength, and he did really well. And when he's throwing strikes and cutting that ball to right-handers, he's fine. When he starts walking around the mound and he's slow and he's throwing balls out of the strike zone, becomes very hittable. I like him when he was starting early. He was working quickly and just challenging the hitters. Fastball, throws a nice changeup. When he's got that working, can really eat up the right-handers also, and he'll cut that fastball in and away to both sides of the plate, to both types of hitters, righties and lefties.
First man to face him here in the 5th is Adam Jones. He takes the first pitch for ball 1. Jones is 1 for 2. He ground into a double play in the first, and then singled and picked up second on a throwing error by Encarnacion in the 4th inning. Jones scored the first run of the game for the Orioles today. We're tied at 2 here in the 5th inning. And Dino at first. Here's Talent getting a swing and a miss. Jones hit his 19th home run this season Wednesday at Comerica Park in Detroit. So Talent sets and fires on the 1-1. And Chavez considers a throw down to first. He holds on to the ball. It's 1-2.
This is where he sat last year on this date. And look at how the numbers have swollen this year. Last year at this time, he had 7 home runs and 50 RBIs, playing every day for the Orioles. But the power has just come into his game. Went on a little bit of a tear right after the All-Star break, where he hit a bunch of home runs.
Talent checks the runner as Dino gets back, and Dino is in place of Brian Roberts, who had to leave the game after he fouled a pitch off his ankle in the first inning. Hung around for another inning but could not continue, and so the Orioles have lost their all-star second baseman. And Jones gets under that one, popping it up near first. Overbay makes the play.
There's that good changeup right there. 20 games since the All-Star break, and Adam Jones has 7 home runs, so they put away a dangerous hitter right there by making a good pitch. Watch the grip and the release. Have his timing really messed up. The changeup's a good pitch for Talent because he's got those long legs and those long arms, and his windup is very conducive to throwing a changeup. Can really fool those batters.
Here's Nick Markakis now. He's 0 for 2. Talent started the year in the bullpen, but then after an injury to Jesse Litch, remember him on April 13th in Minneapolis? In came Talent. Made his first start in a long time, in 3 years in fact, against Oakland in the middle of April. As he gets a swing and a miss there, 1-1. And again, never really looked out of place in that rotation. He had some rough outings. I know the Kansas City Royals roughed him up in late April.
But he would come right back. with a good outing.
With 6 or 7 innings the next outing.
Yep. I remember the game down in Texas. He was very, very good against the Rangers back in June.
Here's the 1-1 down low. Now 2-1. Markakis up with 2 out, and Andino at first. Talent the pitch off the plate. Now 3 balls and a strike. Talent's 8th start of the year came in Baltimore against these Orioles. He went 6 solid innings in that game, but couldn't pick up a victory because the Blue Jays couldn't score. They lost 4-1, dropping their 7th in a row on that disastrous 9-game road trip. The 3-1 pitch goes for strike 2. It's a full count now.
He hasn't started all year. We've been talking about that. Been pitching out of the pen. But he has the 3rd most quality starts for the whole rotation all year. 9 of his 18 starts were quality. Only Romero and Halladay have more.
With 2 away, a full count on the batter Markakis. There goes the runner, and it's shot foul into the Blue Jays dugout. Ryan Talent in for the injured Brett Cecil. Trying to hold the score here. 2-2. Chavez sets up outside. It comes across the plate. Popped up. Here's Scudero. And that's the inning. The Orioles leave a man after 4.5. The roof has almost closed shut here in Toronto. August 18, 19, and 20. Chris Woodward and the Boston Red Sox are at Rogers Center, and there are still great seats available. Make your call to the ticket office, 416-341-1234.
Yeah, that Chris Woodward. Ex-Blue Jay.
Ex-Blue Jay.
Chris Woodward.
Recently released by the Mariners as Encarnacion singles to left field to kick off the Jays' half of the 5th. Well, the Red Sox have had to deal with some injuries, so they are starting to pull some players together as we head for the last part of this season.
Muscled into left field by Encarnacion. chance now to get something going. Just the second hit today by the Blue Jays. Their other one back in the second inning, the 2-run home run by Alex Rios.
Here is Raul Chavez. And it's ball one from young Chris Tillman. Chavez 0 for 1. He flied out to center field in the second. Tied at 2, bottom of 5 on reunion weekend as Encarnacion takes off for second base. It's fouled back and almost caught by Kelly Gruber, who just happened to wander into the booth.
I thought Tabby was going to dive for it.
I had that one easy. Easy. You can get up now. You're sitting. Get up from underneath the table.
I just sat down. I prefer to sit.
We can't see you on the TV, brother.
This is
on.
not radio, Kelly.
Y'all want to see how short I am.
There you go.
Yeah, bend down, Tabby.
Now here is Tillman facing Chavez. Kelly Gruber wandered into the broadcast booth about 15 minutes ago with your kids. They look like they're having as much fun as you are here.
Oh, they're having more fun than I am, I believe. Cody's 19, so he's drinking like legal age. You know what that means, right? And Cassie's jealous, I think. But, oh, they're having a ball. They just had no idea. You know, they just like Kyle and Colton when I brought them up for Friday Night Flashback in April. They had no idea. They're only 13 and 15. So these guys are 17 and 19, and they were born here. In fact, Cassie's born in '92. She's a World Series baby, and Cody was 90.
So they're dual citizens.
That's correct.
Well, Kelly's here as part of this reunion weekend. There's a swing and a miss from Raul Chavez. What's been the highlight? I know it's not over. You've got a big gala dinner tonight, but so far, what's been the highlight for you?
Just seeing everybody. I mean, the fact that we're all able to come together like this is tremendous. You know, the Toronto Dominion Bank has just done a superb job. You know, I would have never dreamed this of happening. You know, Paul Beeston said the same thing.
Yep.
You know, and wow, it's fantastic.
Pat found it very surprising that there were so many faces that he hadn't seen since 1992. I'm sure you've run into a few guys who you thought, man, it's been so long.
Yeah. There were some guys I didn't know were on the team. Like, you weren't on the 92 team.
Well, the 93 team's here also.
Here's a ball hit into the air in left field, and over in the corner is the left fielder Reimold. He pulls it down as Chavez comes so close from knocking one out. You know, they've played over and over, Kelly, that tag that you applied on Deion Sanders in Game 3 in '92. And, you know, fans like me back in the day thought, we was robbed. That should be a triple play right there. It was so obvious, too.
Well, you know, if we hadn't won that, then I'd have had problems with it.
Yeah.
What did you say to the umpire?
I said, what are you, crazy? He's out. I got him. What are you, crazy? I got him. What are you, crazy? I
There
got
it is.
him.
Watch.
Right.
One, and then I hit his other foot.
Yeah.
See that? I don't know if you saw it coming down. And I think he kicked it right there almost 3 times.
Your hair was a lot longer back then.
That was a look.
Yeah, I saw myself on the screen last night. Next time I come back, I think I'm going to have like 2-inch hair, and I'm going to put some oil or something. Just nobody will know who I am. I get lazy and don't cut it.
Here is Joe Inglet, the left fielder, facing rookie Chris Tillman, and he flies this one into left field. Reimold is there again, and that's the second out. Where are you living now?
I'm in Austin, Texas. I moved, from Sarasota, Florida. I guess about 2.5 years ago, and back home where I grew up in Austin, and really enjoying it. Kind of reconnecting with the people.
You're always into something. So what are you into now?
Well, kellygruber.ca. You can see what we're doing in the baseball world. We just kicked off a tournament or a clinic in St. John's, Newfoundland. We're going to do it all across Canada, coast to coast.
Beautiful.
Raise the awareness level and the education level.
One of the fans at the barbecue yesterday at the TD Center downtown came up and pulled up the leg of her pants and showed me a Kelly Gruber tattoo on her right thigh, and I thought, my goodness, Kelly will be happy to see that.
What, like his
name?
Like
it was a big
or
heart.
his face?
wasn't his face, it was his number and a big heart, and you know,
it was a
Gruber forever or something like that. I think
it was
it
a baseball
said.
across the sweet spot was my signature, and it looked just like it. It was about yay big. It was a lot bigger than the baseball.
Which tells you had an impact in your time here. Does that surprise you? You come back all these years later and see all these people who have grown up and say, boy, you were a great part of my childhood or my youth.
Yeah, you know, it's a great feeling. It truly is.
Look at this play here as Sturris tries to get it to first in time, but he can't beat Scudero, who's got some speed, and Scudero beats it out.
Maybe his play should have been to second base. Encarnacion was digging hard from first base. You are not going to throw a guy like Marco Scudero out from deep short like that. So maybe his shot was at second base, but give Encarnacion some credit, who was running hard from first.
Absolutely. I don't think they even had a chance at him. He really was. He was digging.
With 2 gone now, Aaron Hill steps in.
11th in the American League, hit it with runners in scoring position. Imperative with good hitters coming up to get a knock.
Well, he grounds the first one to the third baseman, Mora, and that's it. We have to say goodbye to Kelly Gruber, but thank you so much for dropping by.
Me. Oh, I enjoyed it.
How'd you play golf the other day?
Terrible, like I always do.
The Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
We are now officially indoors at Rogers Center, starting this game with the roof peeled back, but there are some threatening skies about Toronto, so, oh my. Aubrey Huff will lightly jog down to first. You could hear the thud from throughout this building.
Talent has had good control this year, but he hits his 4th batter. It's the kind where you kind of try and get out of the way there. You could hear it all the way up here. Take a listen.
Here's a listen. That hit a soft spot.
Well, you try and get out of the way. You know, you saw him kind of peel back a little bit. But that ball was like radar. It came right into him. Looked like it got him in the rib area. Does Raimo look like the right-handed version of Aubrey Huff at the plate?
He does.
Stands upright, big, tall, strong.
He's got some power, too.
Yeah. 10 home runs and just over 200 at-bats. And he's another one who has been swinging a hot stick since the All-Star break. We talked about Adam Jones last inning. Reinhold, .317 with 5 doubles, a homer, and 8 RBIs in the 17 games that he has played since the All-Star game. You see his numbers on the season there. He leads all rookies in home runs with 10.
The word on Brett Cecil is that he suffered left knee irritation as he tumbled trying to glove the ball to Overbay on the infield single by Andino in the 5th. So Cecil is out of the game. Talent in an emergency situation gets it fouled back off the bat of Reimold. So we'll keep an eye on Cecil's developments the next little while. And here is the play that took him out of this game.
Yeah, look at that knee kind of buckle under. Right there. When he tried to get up, he was kind of wobbly.
2-2. Here comes Big Talent. It's rolled down to first. Overbay goes to second. Scutaro is there to put away Huff on the fielder's choice. So with one down, here comes Melvin Mora again, and he is 0 for 2. The Jays and Orioles wrap up this series tomorrow afternoon. We'll have the game on Sportsnet as Roy Halladay tries again for win number 12. He'll face yet another rookie, left-handed pitcher Brian Mattis. Base hit left field for Mora. That pushes the runner Reimold up to second. So we're seeing all the top prospects, it seems, in this series for Baltimore.
And Blue Jays.
That
Cecil
too.
and Romero. Was Melvin Mora sitting on a fastball? I mean, he almost wound up and came out of his shoes on that first pitch fastball. He's always been a dead red first ball fastball hitter.
And Luke's got dangerous against lefties. 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. But on the year hitting over 290 against left-handed pitchers. Settles into the box to face Talent here with 2 on. And just 1 out in the 6th. First pitch grounded to the right side. It gets past Hill into right field. And the runner Reimold is held at third. He won't challenge Rios' arm.
We have 2 of the better throwing right fielders in baseball here. Rios and Nick Markakis. Rios gets to the ball quickly. Really no chance for Reimold to score. Watch how he cuts down the distance between he and the ball. Comes up cleanly. The thing about Rios, he's got a very quick release in the outfield. Ball might tail on him a little bit, but he's quick. Gets it back in, and you have to hold the runner at third.
Here's the catcher, Matt Wieters, 0 for 2. He gets into this one. Into short left. They call the infield fly rule. He's gone. Out number 2 in the books. And with the bases loaded, Talent will face the number 9 hitter. So the Orioles, the last couple of hitters, have been awfully aggressive early against Talent. Wieters didn't waste any time, and now here's Izturis.
Scott didn't, Mora didn't. Wieters, though, doesn't know Talent like those other guys do. They have faced Brian Talent before and know what that ball does. He can really cut it in on right-handers. That looks like what he did right there on Wieters by popping him up.
Izturis, the XJ, is 1 for 2. He singled and stole second in the 3rd. In his first year with the Orioles after spending all of last year with the Cardinals. Bases loaded for Baltimore in a tie game. And this ball is headed for the chairs in right. 1-1 on the shortstop. As Talent gets a variety of signs from Chavez. The catcher punches his glove. Ready to go on 1-1. Now 2-1. The crowd today at Rogers Center slightly smaller than last night's draw. 28,613 the paid attendance for the second game of this 3-game series, part of reunion weekend. And on 2-1, here's Talent setting and firing. Once again, it's low. It's 3-1.
Jays pitchers have really done a good job when they get themselves into problems finding their way out. 2 outs, runners in scoring position this year in the American League. They have the best batting average against. Opponents hitting just 193 against Blue Jay pitching in this situation. Got to come in with one here. No place to put them.
Keep it down, says Chavez. Here it comes, and it's fouled back. A full count now. Here's a young lady, possibly in her first big league game on Junior Jay's Saturday. Dad finds a chance to take her to concessions as Talent gets ready for a big pitch here against Asturias. 3-2 with the bases loaded. Ball on the way, and it's sent foul again. Pitcher deals, and it's sent to center field. An easy play for Vernon Wells. And the Orioles load him up and leave him loaded here in the 6th inning as Talent gets a nice applause. Canada's fastest mobile network, 3 times faster than any other. Adam Lind has 12 extra base hits in his last 17 games. He's been an extra base hits machine this year.
Second in the American League, tied for 3rd in all of major leagues with 58 extra base hits.
One would look good here as he faces Chris Tillman. And that ball finds the glove of Matt Wieters, the young rookie right-hander. Starts his 6th inning of work against the Jays. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters are due: Lind, Overbay, and Wells. Things for Lind changed for the better when he was recalled from AAA On the 22nd of June last year, around the same time, the Blue Jays dismissed John Gibbons and rehired Cito Gaston. One of the first things that Cito did was bring Lynn back up and put him in left field permanently. And it gave him confidence to know he didn't have to go for a stretch of games with some offers and expect to be demoted again to the minor leagues.
You don't know what that does to young players when a manager shows that kind of confidence in you. You're right. You go 0 for 4 and you don't have a threat of being taken out of the lineup. You just go up there and just keep working hard, and you're in there. It just feels like a lot of pressure taken off your back, and you go out there and just do your thing. We saw immediate success from Adam Lynn when he started playing every day last year.
And he's carried it into this season as he strikes out looking on a good breaking ball from Chris Tillman.
Just his second strikeout of the afternoon for Tillman. This one of the backwards K variety, taken as he freezes Lynn with that good overhand curveball. Tight spin. Good break there. Much better than the curveballs we saw a couple of innings ago.
Lyle Overbay has walked twice tonight. You see what the roof closing does? I called it a night game.
Feels like it, doesn't it?
It always feels that way when the roof is closed. So he's walked twice today.
Here, I'll put my
I
watch
stand corrected.
right here.
Thank you.
So you can see it's
Just
only
remind me.
5 after 3. Time to open up right here. 2-0. Look for a fastball that you can take a good whack at right here.
Well, he took it. Strike one.
Yeah, but that was not one that you could hit out the ballpark. Overbay can hit the ball down and in. That one was a good placement of a fastball on the outside part of the plate.
They'll try and stay away again. And that one is some high cheese.
2-0. You can sit on a pitch, but you can also sit on location at the same time. You can sit on a fastball and I like it in, or I like it up, or I like it away from me.
Breaking ball grounded to the shortstop, Bisturis. 2 gone.
And if you don't like it, take it.
There's Wells again, though 0 for 2 on the day, has hit the ball hard. Last time lining a gap to left center field that looked like a double off the bat, but was tracked by Adam Jones. So today Wells has made good contact against Chris Tillman, but he's got nothing to show for.
2 hard balls to the outfield. This is an opponent that he really likes facing. The Baltimore Orioles, and the numbers bear it out. Look at the career RBIs for Vernon Wells against the Orioles. He has had more against the O's than any team. 93. If he does it, he's going to have to hit one out of the ballpark. Right here.
Tillman kicks and fires, gets a ground ball from Wells. Mora hurries the throw to first and gets him by a step. A 1-2-3-6 for the rookie in just his 3rd major league start.
Log on to BlueJays.com for your chance to win an all-expense-paid trip to see the Jays in comfort. TD Canada Trust, putting you in the comfort zone.
We are back inside the Rogers Center today in Toronto. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino. It's the Blue Jays and Orioles tied at 2. Game 2 of a weekend series. This all wraps up tomorrow with Brian Mattis, a rookie, taking the hill for the Orioles up against Roy Halladay. Brian Talent on the hill for the Jays right now, and he works into his 3rd inning of relief after having to take over in an emergency situation for Brett Cecil. Cecil left the game after Robert Andino, who's up there now, singled on a play in the 5th inning with what the Blue Jays are calling left knee irritation. And Dino himself into the game, replacing an injured Brian Roberts, so he's up in the leadoff position and is 1 for 2. Talent gets ahead of him here, and the 0-2 pitch is on the way, and that's an easy strikeout.
Made that look easy.
Boy, did he ever.
Well, he kept the ball down and he kept it out of the middle of the plate. And Dino looked like he was looking for something off speed. That ball's right there.
Next man up, Adam Jones, who has a single in 3 trips. It gets tough from here for the Jays, who head for New York. They'll play 3 there beginning Monday night, have a day off Thursday, and then next weekend play a 3-game set with the Rays. But you knew this was coming. The last couple of months of the season backloaded with most of the teams in the American League East.
Yeah, at the end of June, that was the first time we got an up close and personal look at Tampa Bay. Believe it or not, we hadn't been there. We had only made 1 trip to Boston and 1 to New York and 1 to Baltimore.
3 balls, no strikes. Here comes Talent. And it's ball 4. Jones had to wait on the call from Gary Cederstrom, but he trots down to first, drawing a 1-out walk.
And things have not been good in the American League East for the Blue Jays this year. 12-25.
Just barely staying with Baltimore. Even the Orioles, who've really scuffled, and we talked about the Orioles with only 3 wins all year on the road against the East, and they still have a better record against the Jays, against some of these divisional rivals. And it used to be, Pat, that the Blue Jays would get up for New York and Boston. Seems in the last 4 or 5 years they've always played well against Boston, and it was Tampa Bay
when they weren't very
good that gave them fits. Baltimore that gave them fits. And Roy Halladay addressed that a few years ago. He said, our biggest problem is we get excited about games against the Yankees and Red Sox. It's teams like the then Devil Rays or Kansas City Royals that take 3 of 4 in a 4-game series.
Yeah, go figure.
Pitch to Markakis, line to left field. He's got a base hit. And so once again, like they did in the 6th, the Orioles are getting some base runners here against Talent. Now 2 on and 1 out in the 7th.
Markakis is just a good hitter. Left-handed, right-handed, junk baller, knuckleballer, whatever, flamethrower. Keeps getting better and better and better. Watch how he stays on that pitch from a left-hander. Stays right with it and bangs it into left field.
This January, Markakis signed a 6-year extension with the Orioles. He'll be with this club through 2014. And they are happy to have him. What an outfield. Jones at second, Markakis at first. The cleanup man, Aubrey Huff, stands in against Brian Talent. He hits it on the ground. Taken by Hill. Nobody to throw to, and now Talent covering first. So Hill was looking around, looking for someone to dump the ball to, and Talent did well to get to the bag in time.
Well, he tried to get that runner in the middle of the diamond, Nick Markakis, but then realized he didn't have a shot here. This ball hit right between Overbay, who goes for the ball, and Hill. Good job by Talent to break quickly over to the right side to record the out. You let go of that ball, and you are trained. As soon as that ball is hit to the right side, you get over there.
Once again, here's Talent in a jam as he faces Nolan Reimold. The pitch is low, 1-0. Last inning, Talent saw the bases loaded with one out and was able to get Wieters and Esturas. Now 2 gone here in the inning. Runners at second and third for the Orioles in a tie ball game. One ball and 1 strike on Reimold. Reimold's 4th inning double cashed Aubrey Huff and tied the game at 2 after the Blue Jays took a 2-0 lead on an Alex Rios home run. Inside 2-1.
This is where Reimold has shined this year. 26 of his 32 RBIs have come with runners in scoring position, hitting about .350. A chance with a base open here to break open the tie.
Grounds it to Encarnacion. He goes across the diamond to get him, and yet again Talent wiggles his way out of a situation, and after 6.5 innings we are still deadlocked at 2. Let's look at the game review, and Brett Cecil got off to a terrific start for the Blue Jays. Unfortunately, he lasts only 4 1/3 and has to leave the game because of injury. And in this game, Alex Rios has his 14th home run of the year.
Yeah, good to see that, but goose eggs everywhere else. So it's getting late. Jays have only had 3 hits. They've wriggled in and out of trouble all afternoon. The Orioles have out-hit them 8-3. Time to plate some runs late here and shut them down and go home with a W.
6'5" rookie Chris Tillman, after giving up the home run to Rios, has surrendered a couple of base hits in the 5th inning. One to Encarnacion, another to Marcos Scutaro, but that's it for this young man in just his 3rd major league start. The Orioles have plans of Tillman being an ace of their staff at some point down the road, and he's showing well in his 3rd start here as he faces Alex Rios. Rios hit the home run in the second with Overbay at first to give the Blue Jays an early lead. That's his 14th this year. And he's hit him in back-to-back games now after going deep in last night's game. Tillman on the 1-1. It's up high, 2 balls and a strike. And the pitch count for the young man on the mound is starting to get up there. He's now thrown 97 pitches. Kicks and fires on 98 and gets a swing.
It's a good changeup right there. Got good arm action on it. We talked about that in the scouting report, that changeup has to be effective, and it has. Just one more thing that the Blue Jay batters have to think about.
2-2, laced to left and foul. This one goes the other way and out of play.
He'll be a strikeout pitcher, I think, when he gets a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit more knowledge of what he can and can't do.
Popped up and drifting beyond Sam Cosentino's head and out of play.
Certainly has the frame to do it. Just 21 years old. Competing in the big leagues.
High praise from Buck Martinez, comparing him to Roy Halladay.
A young Roy Halladay when he first came up.
There's a good breaking ball, and he gets Rios looking.
Can't give up on that breaking ball. That is a lot like Halladay's curveball when he first came up, if you remember him. It's a spike curve. Halladay threw a knuckle curve where he got great rotation. He's a little bit different now, but you can't give up on it. Rios does, and Tillman has his 3rd strikeout.
That brings up Edwin Encarnacion, the 3rd baseman, 1 for 2. Hard to believe the young man on the mound is only 3 years removed from high school. He graduated from a high school in Fountain Valley, California back in '06 and was promptly drafted in the 2nd round by the Mariners. I know it's early. He seems to have a lot of polish, and oftentimes you see this more from some of those who have gone high school and then played 2 or 3 years in college baseball.
I think it's better to get guys out of high school. Another changeup, because you get them right into pro ball and you teach them the proper way to play the game. Against wood bats, you're guarded. You go to college as a pitcher, and the coaches are there to win, to save their job, so they might abuse you as a pitcher.
Not to necessarily develop.
No.
Not even close.
They're there to win, you know. Another strikeout for Tillman. But you get into pro ball, especially a young kid like this with a good body and a good arm. There's a good curveball, kind of a half swing by Encarnacion. And you teach them the way you want to teach them how to play the game at an early age. A lot of times guys go on to college and they kind of fall into their routine, and it's hard to break them out of that bad habit if they develop bad habits in college.
Boy, we're late in this ball game, Pat, and his breaking ball is looking awfully good.
Yeah, throwing it for a purpose now, and with conviction, throwing that curveball.
Gets ahead of Chavez. Fastball hits the dirt, 1-1. Back-to-back strikeouts for Tillman here in the 7th inning. Base hit to the left side, and Chavez keeps the inning alive for the Blue Jays.
Every time Cito Gaston puts Raul Chavez into the lineup, he ends up doing at least one thing to help his team. Threw out a base runner earlier, picks up a base hit here. He tried to move a runner earlier. All these little things add up to winning baseball. Looked bad on the first curveball for strike one. This time he stays back. He has seen it, rips it into left field. For just the 4th hit of the afternoon for the Jays.
And Dave Tremblay, the manager, has decided that's it for the young man as he goes to the bullpen. And it's Clay Meredith coming out from the right field pen as Tremblay gives a nice pat on the shoulder to his young right-hander who pitched a very nice game against the Jays this afternoon. After 6 2/3, he only allowed 4 hits in his time, the last coming to Raul Chavez. Dave Tremblay now goes to Clay Meredith, and 1 pitch and 1 quick out. He gets Joe Inglet, and that's it. The Blue Jays strand a man in the 7th, and after 7, still 2-2 here at Rogers Center. Tillman has ever gone, and boy, didn't he look good today against the Jays.
Yeah, this start looked like his other 2 starts. A little shaky at the beginning of the game, but then he found it and he finished up strong, pitching into the 7th inning. 3 walks and 4 strikeouts, and taking him out was a total pitch count thing. He said, we're going to protect this youngster. He's got a bright future. 110 pitches for Tillman, which is his highest in the big leagues. We're going to protect him. We're going to get him out of there to pays dividends as England makes an out on the first pitch from Meredith.
And so we hit the 8th inning now, still deadlocked at 2. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino. The Jays had a 2-0 lead after 2 innings. The Orioles picked up 2 in the 4th on 3 hits. And it's been that way ever since. As this is nubbed out toward first, Talbot sprints to the bag and just gets there in time. Talbot has really had to work out of jams the last couple of innings. He'd like to get a clean one here and get his offense back up.
It helps to get the first one. Ball squibbed on the right side like that. You're taught as a pitcher to get over to the line first. Get to the line and then come up the line. Textbook right there is Overbay leads him to get the first out.
Why are you taught to go up the line as opposed to directly at the bag?
So you don't run into the runner. You go up to the line, and then you make your way right up the line, so when you catch it, you can get the inside part of the bag and then peel out of the way so the runner doesn't spike you.
There's Luke Scott. Scott with a strikeout, a walk, and a single. As he gets the start at DH today. He sat on the bench and watched last night as the Orioles took the opener. The 1-0 pitch from Talbot is hit high in the air into right field. That's a mile up there. And it takes a while, but Rios puts him away for the second out. And that gives us a chance to send out a happy belated 86th birthday to Armand Van Landshut in Tillsonburg, Ontario. As well, a happy 90th today to Mabel Shiree, who's checking in from Calgary. And watching as the Blue Jays and Orioles continue to battle here in the 8th inning, tied at 2. And with 2 gone, Matt Wieters is back up 0 for 3.
His last at bat was a big one for Brian Talbot. Ran that fastball in on his hands with the bases loaded, and just 1 out. Popped it up the shortstop, and he was able to get Asturias there with the bases loaded and just 1 out. Keep it a 2-2 game.
He's got 2 strikes on Wieters here. Here's the pitch. And it's high, ball 1. Top of the order is coming up for the Blue Jays in the last of this inning with Scudero, Hill, and Lindu. So the Orioles have 2 men now throwing in their bullpen. Another 2-strike pitch, and it's fouled back. Here's the delivery, and he gets a wave on that one. Chavez chases down Wieters, and it's a 1-2-3-8 for Brian Talbot. Statistical information provided by Stats Inc. And the scoring here provided in the first 4 innings, nothing since. As the Blue Jays and Orioles battle in Game 2, I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler. 28,000 and change at Rogers Center today. And the right-hander Clay Meredith continues. He got a 1-pitch out coming in for rookie Chris Tillman in the end of the 7th inning, and retired Joe Inglet. So the one-time San Diego Padre, who was acquired very recently for Oscar Salazar, goes to work now on Marcos Scutaro.
It happened so quickly. We didn't get a chance to flash the numbers up there for Clay Meredith. Sidewinder, a lot like Chad Bradford, who used to pitch for Baltimore, is now down in Tampa Bay. Comes from down under and gets good movement on his pitches.
Had some good years with the Padres. He set a rookie record in 06 with 28 consecutive scoreless appearances that went from late July through early September, a span of over 33 innings. Really made a name for himself out of that Padres bullpen. He's ahead of Scutaro 0-2, and the ground ball is eaten up by Izturis. A one-time Gold Glover gets Scutaro at the bag, 1 away.
Yeah, he means so much to this team, does Izturis, defensively. He was out with an injury. The Orioles just played inconsistent ball defensively. Since he's been in there, they have caught the ball extremely well.
Strike 1 to Aaron Hill. Hill is 0 for 3. Easy play in right field for Markakis. Now 2 gone, 8th inning. The normally reliable 2 and 3 combination of Hill and Lind are a collective 0 for 7 now against the Orioles, as Dave Tremblay pays a visit to Clay Meredith, likes his work, and says thank you for coming. They'll hand the ball to left-hander Mark Hendrickson, who makes his way in from the right field pen. And as they make that change, we'll take a short break here on Rogers Sportsnet, tied at 2 at Rogers Center. Seeing his name circled about as possible trade bait. He's still with the Blue Jays and still looking for a 12th win. He'll try and earn it tomorrow against the Orioles, up against rookie left-hander Brian Mattis. Please join us for the ball game. It begins at 1 Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific. Doc's watching from the bench as Mark Hendrickson delivers strike one to Adam Lind with 2 out in the 8th inning.
Hendrickson has given them some innings this year. He is a lot like Brian Talent. Did some starting for the Orioles. They put him in the bullpen, and they've given the bullpen some length out there. His first batter efficiency is very good. 24 of the 27 batters he has faced when coming out of the bullpen, he has retired. That's an excellent ratio.
He's got a ball and 2 strikes here on Lind. With 2 gone in the inning. The 1-2 pitch, a breaking ball, strike 3 called, and there goes Lind again. He's 0 for 4. 8 innings in the books. 2-2 is the score. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. Yes, I can tell. That's just what you like on your hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
Load up the mustard ketchup. Nothing like a hot dog at a ball game. And we've got one going here. It must feel like a start for Brian Talent. He's already gone 3 2/3.
As a reliever, that's the longest he has gone in his career. You have to go all the way back to May the 28th of 2006 against the White Sox when Brian Talent came out of the bullpen and pitched longer.
Belted to left field. A good jump by Inglet, and he catches up to that one off the bat of Asturis.
The whole key to that play was what you said, get a jump. And Inglet read it right away off the bat. Actually has to slow down because he got such a good jump to haul that in.
Well, Dave Tremblay now goes to his bench. Robert Andino was due batting in the leadoff position, but instead he'll call upon Ty Wigginton, who's got some pop, 8 home runs this year after a slow start. He's been able to bump his average up to 267. It was hovering around 200 for a good portion of the early part of the year. And so he faces Brian Talent, who gets strike 1. There's a swing and a miss, so it's 0-2 quickly on Wigginton. Talent took over with 1 out in the 5th inning for an injured Brett Cecil. and has yet to give up a run to these Orioles. The 0-2 pitch off the plate.
Veteran Wigginton has been a productive pinch hitter for the Baltimore Orioles this year. He has a couple of hits, but 6 RBIs as a pinch hitter.
Talent working the corners here and missing for ball 3. And so what was 0-2 is now a full count. And here comes the big lefty. And Wigginton gets under it. Flying into left field. England is there. 2 gone. So it took a while and took a few pitches, but Talent gets the job done on Wigginton and will now face the All-Star Adam Jones.
Just could not get him to bite on those 0-2, 1-2 pitches just off the plate. Then threw him a changeup. Got on the sky at the left field.
Strike 1 on Jones. Talent seems to be getting better as he goes along here.
Yeah, getting into a nice rhythm, nice flow, throwing strikes. This is the Talent that we saw early in the year when he just got the ball, kept it low, and just attacked the hitter.
One ball and 1 strike on Jones. Here's the pitch, and he cuts it in for strike 2. So Talent's in the driver's seat here, 1 and 2 on the number 2 hitter, Adam Jones. 2 gone in the 9th inning, tied at 2. The crowd here lends their support. And he gets the swing and the miss and strikes out Jones. A 1-2-3 ninth and an emergency roll for Brian Talent. Walk-off home run, and they'll go at it again today. Hopefully some got some sleep. You can watch it up next on Rogers Sportsnet, the Red Sox and the Yankees. As Clay Buchholz goes for Boston. He's 1-1 on the year. CC Sabathia replies for the Yankees. Sabathia 11-7. So we double dip on baseball today. just as soon as this game ends. And right now, in the bottom of the 9th inning, we're tied at 2 as Hendrickson gets strike 1 on Lyle Overbay. Overbay hitting 4th. He'll be followed by the 5-hitter Wells and then Alex Rios. The Jays today trying to end a 3-game slide. They lost 2 against the Yankees and last night's opener of this series.
Try to ending slides against walk-off. Also, Jays have been not very good in that category.
They've been victims.
4-10 in walk-off games. 10 losses.
2 strikes on Overbay. And now 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Orioles have Danny Baez up and warming in the bullpen. As Hendrickson deals, and it's ripped to right field. A base hit as Markakis was well back toward the warning track.
Yeah, he had to. No doubles. The infielders are on the corners are on the line. The outfielders are deep. If he's playing his normal position, this is an out. But with no doubles, Overbay tops that ball hard into right field. Markakis had thoughts of maybe coming in and shoestring catching it. You see, but he backs off, plays it on a bounce, and a good start here in the bottom of the 9th.
And so, as you might expect, with a right-handed hitter coming up, Dave Tremblay comes out once again and signals to the bullpen. He'll bring in Danny Baez. The Orioles make a change and will return with a man on base, nobody out in the bottom of the 9th inning. Has information. New man on the hill for the Orioles is Danny Baez as he faces Vernon Wells, who is 0 for 3. And the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 9th inning have the potential winning run on base in Lyle Overbay. 2 balls, no strike. A favorable count here for Wells, though he faces a very effective Baez.
Yeah, effective. Opponents hitting .224 against him. He's got a good split that makes it tough. He's got enough fastball to get it by you. He suffered the loss on Monday at Detroit in the same situation. Walk-off variety.
Here's a bouncer to Mora. He's got to wait on the ball. And Wells is thrown out at first base. Kind of works as a bit of a sacrifice for the Jays there as Overbay moves into scoring position.
Mora was playing deep, and you see him give up on that ball and have to play it on one hop, and that took away the ability to get that lead runner at second base. If he caught that on a fly, he would have had a shot to get Overbay at second. But realized he had to play it on the bounce. Overbay is now in scoring position. And they're not going to give Rios a chance to win the game.
First base open, and they'll put him on intentionally with Edwin Encarnacion on deck for the Jays. This isn't surprising. Rios has been the most productive hitter in this series for the Jays. He homered in last night's game, homered in the second inning today.
Also sets up the double play. You got to think about that. The Blue Jays have no left-handed batters on their bench that they can turn to, so the right-handers Encarnacion and Chavez have to face Baez.
So here's Encarnacion. 2 on, 1 out, and he takes strike 1. The third baseman today is 1 for 3. Little roller out to third, and Mora touches the bag at second, so he gets the force on Overbay. As Encarnacion is safe on a fielder's choice. And with 2 down, Raul Chavez takes strike 1.
Right man at the right spot. Last time up, he got a base hit. Cito plays him, and good things have happened all season long. 275, a couple of home runs, 11 RBIs. Time to win it right here.
He's behind though, 0-2. The man at second can certainly run. Alex Rios is up there.
They aren't even close to holding him at second base. Why not? Why not take a shot at third? Wigginton has been inserted at second base after pinch hitting for Andino. He is out in the outfield portion of the field here. Izturis, the shortstop, is deep. Look at all that room that Rios has to work with. Why not?
Quick check from Baez, and it's rolled to third, and Mora makes the force there at third base. So Danny Baez comes in and gets the Orioles out of this situation, and after 9 innings of play, still stuck on 2s. Tomorrow night, coast to coast on Rogers Sportsnet. Once again, the Yankees and Red Sox are featured from New York, and that one has John Lester, who's 9-7, up against Andy Pettitte, 9-6, and coming off a recent victory against these Jays. So a night game tomorrow in New York, and a night game on Monday has the Jays and Yankees going toe-to-toe in the first of three. We'll have all three here on Rogers Sportsnet. And we're looking ahead to all this baseball, but first, this game needs to come to an end as we hit extra innings. It's the 10th inning of play, and the Orioles will bring up Markakis, Huff, and Reimold against Brian Talbot, who continues to work for the Jays here in relief of Brett Cecil.
8 in a row. Talbot is set down. The last batter to reach him was the guy on deck, Huff.
Fly ball to left field, and it's over the head of Joe Inglet. Hits the base of the wall there. Markakis parks himself at second with a leadoff double.
Not wasting any time as Nick Markakis, you see his head go straight down on that pitch. Stays right on that ball and rips it. This is why he's a good hitter, because he's got power the other way. Pitch him away, he'll hit it away. You pitch him in and he'll pull it. 35 doubles now for Nick Markakis.
Ball one to Aubrey Huff. Those 35 doubles ties Adam Lynn's total for second in the American League. Huff has an RBI double in this game, and he fouls that one back. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Blue Jays are 4-10 in extra innings games this year. They haven't walked off with a victory since May 2nd in this building against these Orioles. Here's a troublesome start to the 10th for the Jays. A leadoff double, and ball 2 to Huff.
And that's going to bring Raul Chavez to the mound. You see how he caught that ball? He was looking for something other than what he got. Just a little friendly reminder of what sign we are using with a runner at second. No mistakes now. You don't want to make any mistakes in extra innings.
Swing and a miss. Change of speeds from Talbot, and he evens the count at 2-2.
That's been his most effective pitch this afternoon. When he doesn't have that good changeup, or he doesn't have the opposition swinging at that changeup, that's when he's had his most trouble this year.
Gets the pitch there, and it's caught by Chavez, and there goes Huff on the foul tip, although Huff claims that may have hit the dirt.
Yeah, he's going to ask for help. Here comes his manager, Dave Tremblay. But Chavez did a great job. He turns the glove around and picks it. It looks like before it hit the dirt. Tremblay just wants some assurance that that ball did not hit the dirt. He called a foul ball. If it hits dirt, it's a foul ball. If Chavez catches it, it's a strikeout. Watch his glove. Fingers up, fingers go down. Smothered it.
Let's go down to Sam Cosentino.
Things really quickly, guys. When you look at how Chavez caught the ball, it's like an ice cream cone, so it indicates he didn't catch it cleanly. The next thing is, during the middle of this conversation we're seeing right now, Chavez took that ball and rolled it into the dugout so as to not allow Tremblay or anyone else to see any dirt on it, if there was indeed any dirt on that ball.
Yeah, the evidence now belongs with the ball boy in the Blue Jays dugout. And Chavez, as Cederstrom goes nose to nose with Dave Tremblay, was there to reach in and grab a new baseball.
I saw dirt get kicked up on that replay, but I wasn't sure if it was from the ball hitting the dirt or his glove. There's Chavez getting rid of the evidence.
Just to be sure. So one manager is back in the dugout. Another comes out to the mound. And he'll send Talent to the showers. A nice day for Talent in relief of Brett Cecil. He'll give way to Jason Fraser. Believe it or not, Irish Night is coming up at the ballpark, presented by 98.1 CHFI. Tuesday, August 18th, the Red Sox are here. If you sit in the Irish section, you'll receive an Irish Night cap. As always, BlueJays.com has more information. And after 5 innings of relief work by Brian Talent, finally somebody new takes the ball, and this time it's Jason Fraser.
What a job by Talent. 4 hits, 4 strikeouts in his 5 innings. He will give way to Fraser, who's been good luck charm for the Jays this year with those 5 wins out of the bullpen. That's tied for the 6th most among relievers in the American League.
Fraser needs to lock in here. The Orioles have a man in scoring position, and there is strike 1 on Nolan Reimold, the left fielder, who is 1 for 3 this afternoon. He doubled in a run in the 4th inning. Fraser wants a new set of signs from Chavez. Here's a young right-hander who possesses 3 good pitches. And on the 0-1 comes in with a fastball. He was mostly, near the end of last year, a 2-pitch pitcher, but took the time to go out in the offseason at his own expense and add a changeup to his repertoire.
We were talking to him after one of his games. He said that's been the biggest thing. The addition to that 3rd pitch put a little something extra in the minds of those hitters.
He induces the ground ball and gets a speedy Reimold at the bag as Scudero is there to throw him out. So after the leadoff double, now 2 away here in the 10th inning.
And what that changeup has done is put something extra in the mind of those righties. Right-handers hitting under 150 against Frazier. They got to think about that changeup and they get that fastball in on the hand. So he has handled them nicely.
Back comes Melvin Mora. Moore's had 4 trips to the plate and singled to left field in the 6th inning. One of 4 hits surrendered by Brian Talent over 5 innings. something is amiss here, and now they're pointing up to what looks like the restaurant area in center field.
They wanted to turn off the scoreboard. The scoreboard had like the television play of the game, so the batter could look right in and see the signs of the catcher.
Frazier's ready to go now, and he gets strike one. Here's the veteran Mora, a two-time All-Star with Baltimore. Had his ego bruised the other day when he was left out of the starting lineup against the Red Sox with no explanation from his manager. Frazier, the 0-1, runs inside. He holds up. It's 1-1. Frazier takes a deep breath and sets for the pitch. Here he comes. And that just missed. It's 2-1. Mora has been with the Orioles since he was acquired midway through the 2000 season from the Mets in a deal that sent shortstop Mike Bordick to New York. Grounds to third. A tough hop for Encarnacion. And he's pulled off the bag, but Overbay gets the tag down on Mora. What a play at first.
There's the value of Lyle Overbay right there. He saves an error right here from Encarnacion. He knows he's off the bag, and he goes back with a nice little swipe. Picks it first. That ball is not in his glove. That easily could have come out, but he swipe tags him. Third out, and a chance now for the Jays to win it in the bottom of the inning.
The second baseman, Wigginton. And so Ingrid is aboard. Wigginton new into the ball game.
Yeah, more of a corner guy also. Third baseman, first baseman. Playing awfully deep. I was wondering aloud up here before that first pitch if Joe Ingrid has a bunt for a base hit in his repertoire. He doesn't need it now. As you see, Wigginton goes to his left and it kicks off the heel of his glove for an infield single.
Good start for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 10th inning.
Blue Jays' best bunter at the plate, and Marco Scudero. He is also their best hitter with handling the bat if they want to take the bunt off and maybe slap the ball around and play hit and run. So some options here for Cito Gaston.
Scudero drops it down. Baez goes to second, and they get the force. And Asturias, to his credit, digs that one out too.
Well, he stayed right with it. That is a do or die. You got to make up your mind right away, and that's where your catcher has got to help you. He's the eyes of the pitcher. And Weeder says second base right away. Baez gets off the mound and throws it into the dirt, but look at the job Asturias does. Picking that ball on an in-between hop and keeping that leg on the base to get the force out. It's a huge play for the Orioles.
Well, the last time the Blue Jays walked off with a victory, the hit came from the man at the plate, Aaron Hill. Way back on May 2nd, his 2-out single against Brian Bass scored Rod Barajas, and at that time pushed the Blue Jays record to 17-9, 8 games above 500. Here he is facing Baez, 1 on, 1 out, bottom of 10. And this little blooper is off the glove of Wigginton into center field as Scudero moves up. Had to be a little cautious there as the ball hung up near second base, but it's a base hit for Hill.
Yeah, Scudero did the right thing. You don't want to be running into a double play, so he had to make sure that that ball was going to land softly into the outfield. There goes Wigginton. They find him again. It's right off his glove, so Scudero can only move up to second base. He's got to read it. He's got to read it. Get out there. He does. He moves into scoring position. A base hit for Hill. And what that does now is it forces the Orioles to pitch to Adam Lind.
They've already burned their only left-hander in the bullpen, Mark Hendrickson.
Really no place to put him. So you have to pitch to him.
Wigginton is out of position. He has over 100 games in the big leagues at second base, but you know, maybe you're seeing the effects of losing an all-star like Brian Roberts to injury early on here.
And then the pinch hit in the 9th inning for his replacement. Something also to keep in mind, we talked yesterday about the outfield for the Orioles, how good they are, their arms. They have 26 outfield assists, which leads the American League. So a base hit to the outfield is no giving.
Ball 1 to Adam Lind, who is 0 for 4. He always has a very good idea of what he's looking for as he stands in against Baez. 2 men on, 1 man out. Drives this ball to left field. Reimold back there at the wall. It's off the wall, and this game comes to a conclusion. A walk-off win for the Blue Jays, their first since the 2nd of May. Did they ever need a celebration like this one?
Boy, they certainly did. Some tough losses, some walk-off losses against them. You don't think that team wants to win? They had the right man in the right spot who was due. Slicing the ball hard off the wall in left field for a game-winning hit.
The victory for the Jays ends a 3-game slide